guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another musical interlude. Today we're doing another closer look today, this time at a band that a lot of people wouldn't expect me to like, but I really like them, and it's Jethro Tull. Now Jethro Tull are they're a mixed bag. That's all I can say. I mean, they've been going like since the 60s and the 70s. They are still going today, and they're still touring and playing today with some of the original members of the band. Obviously, Ian Anderson, the lead singer, guitarist, flutist. He's like the lead singer and main sort of member of the band. And they've been going for quite a while, and their music progression, as they are a prog band, as you call prog, which means progression, has covered quite a lots of different sort of genres. They are sort of like a British folk band, they are a British heavy rock band, they are a British prog rock band. You know, that they have been through every kind of sort of little subgenre of that sort of 60s 70s era. And it's obviously down to the band's love of music. So today we're going to be looking at probably one of my favourite albums, if not my favourite, by them. It's the 1960s album. I think it's 1969. I'm sure this was when this came out. I can't remember the exact year of release. I know someone that might correct that in the comments, but I'm sure it's about 68 or 69, and it's their album called Stand Up, which was in their sort of more folky folk rock sort of era, and which is what really appeals to me more than a lot of their sort of like prog rock. But there again, I love a lot of their albums in the 70s, which is so cool. I do have some other Jethro Tull, which I think we'll talk about on another day. We've got plenty of time. Like I said, I've just introduced now to my channel. I mean, over the last year, I've put some music content up on my channel, mostly around Gary Newman and some other sort of like David Sylvian, but I want to digress a little bit and bring a bit more into my channel, because I was speaking to one of my friends about doing some sort of like, you know, closer look at box sets and stuff like that, and he said it'd be a really good idea because it gives people an idea if they're thinking of buying it, what's inside, and is it worth purchasing. So that's why I thought I'd bring some more of these to my channel. I've already done a Bonzo Dog Doodah Band one, which was amazing. A bit long though, guys. It's nearly a 50-minute video, so get a cup of tea for that one. I've done a Thin Lizzy one, I've done a Kinks one, and T-Rex. I'm sure I've done maybe another one or so amongst that, but today we're looking at Jethro Tull's elevated edition of Stand Up. So let's have a closer look and a deep down look at this beautiful box set. So here it is. Here's the elevated edition of Jethro Tull's Stand Up, which I think is their second album. This is the original 1969, which I was right, album, remixed in stereo and 5.1 surround by Steven Wilson. Now, if you don't know who Steven Wilson is, he is sort of like a hot after property at the moment for producing albums. He's a producer of albums. He goes and remixes and remasters a lot of classic albums. Not only Jethro Tull, he's done many bands. He has from Marillion to Ultravox to other artists. He's done quite a few of these, and even I think he's even done a bit of Pink Floyd stuff. I think he's done the new Live Bombay mix on that. So he remixes and does the album and brings them into sort of like an up-to-date sort of fresher sound from its previous release. So that's who Steven Wilson is. He's also a performer. He performs solo, and he also performed, I don't know if he still does, but he was in the lead singer and guitarist and pianist of Porcupine Tree, who were a sort of modern day progressive metal band. Anyway, this is back to this release. This is the Jethro Tull stand up with its original artwork there, which is absolutely glorious and fantastic. Really like it. Released on the Chrysalis label. On the back here we have the contents. This is a 3-disc set with a 112-page booklet. The sets do the actual discs include this. On disc 1 we have Stand Up, the new Steven Wilson stereo remix, which it has the 4-track list in there, and then it also has associated recordings with the release and the original 1967 stereo mixes of some of the tracks, plus a BBC sessions in mono, a 4-track session. On disc 2 is a live concert from Stockholm in Sweden from 1969. It includes, strangely, in the first part of the disc is the second show, and in the last part is some tracks from the first show. So it looks like pretty much the entirety of the first show, and a great 8-track live concert. And then we've got some tracks that was from the second, that track there, To Be Sad Is a Mad Way to Be, is from the first show. And we have original 1969 mono single mixes of Living in the Past and Driving Away. And then we also have radio spots. The third disc is a DVD, which is audio and video. So it contains the audio of Stand Up, the Steven Wilson mix in 5.1, and it has film footage recorded on the 9th of January 1969 in Stockholm, where it includes a couple of tracks from there. And it also has, I believe, maybe like a small sort of documentary on there. I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't have a lot of visual on there. It's mostly for audio. But it's still nice to have a little bit of a glimpse of Jethro Tull at this period of their career. I believe the Bursting Out set has a DVD which has about a 50-minute footage on there of a concert, which is really nice. It's great when they include that. Yes, I understand why they put the DVD or Blu-ray in there for the audio, but it's a wasted opportunity not to put any video footage on it. So they have on this one. So let's have a look at the edition. It resembles the original LP edition as you open it, as you will see. It has the pop-up of the band there, which is fantastic. And because in the original album, I believe it was a gatefold sleeve, and you opened it, and then it had like the track listings there. Which is really cool, and it gives you the track listing, which is side 1, A New Day Yesterday, Jeffrey Goes to Leicester Square, is it Bouet, Back in the Family, and Look into the Sun. Side 2, Nothing is Easy, Fat Man, We Used to Know, Reason for Waiting, and For 1,000 Mothers. And the band lineup on this release is Glenn Cornick on bass guitar, Clive Bunker played drums and all manners of percussion. Martin Lancelot Bray played electric guitar and flute on side 1, track 2, and track 2, side 4. And we have Ian Anderson, who played flute, acoustic guitar, Hammond organ, piano, mandolin, balakia, whatever that is, mouth organ, and he's the singer. So he also sang the songs. So that is the first page of that. So we'll turn over to look at the book. So here we go. We got some sort of like original kind of artworks there. And then it goes into the information of the album and all the sort of information about the mixes and the recordings and all that kind of information. And it goes deeply into the information of each individual disc there, and it also includes release dates and single dates of original releases. Will Jethro Tull please stand up? So we got a sort of I suppose a sort of biography kind of section of this booklet, talking to us about Jethro Tull. That picture there was taken from the Rolling Stones show that did the circus sort of show, so I think they performed on that. So we have a few sort of old pictures amongst this sort of historical biography going on here. That's a great photograph there. There they are. Picture of them there supporting Jimi Hendrix. Great picture of the band there. We have that looks like that's from Copenhagen in 1969. There's Ian Anderson with his famous one-legged stance. That's a great photograph as well. Shame it's spoilt with the it would have been nice if it had just been on one page. Sometimes you get photos like that. I wish they just kind of turned them and had them like that way around on that page. So as you can see, it's very text heavy, going on to us all about all the different sort of releases. Here we have that would be like a test record. Would have had some sort of maybe early sort of test recordings or demos on it, which they would send off to be heard. There's another one there. Again, the binding kind of ruins that picture slightly. That's the only thing I have to say about these things. I mean, I do love these sort of booklet formats when it's set out like a hardback book. But I do think that the images should be presented better within them, instead of across the middle. You know, like that, where you can see the whole image without it being destroyed by the middle part. I mean, that one doesn't work too bad because you've got a cut in there of the band anyway. But that's from performing Street Dreams on BBC TV Top of the Pops in 1969. Yeah, there is some really lots and lots of information to read on this, which is really fantastic. They go into in-depth about playing at festivals and all this kind of thing, the Newport Jazz Festival, and they talk about all things like the British. There's a cutout there from the British Top 20 LPs, and number 1 is Stand Up by Jethro Tull. So they were number 1 there, knocking off the Top Soundtrack and Elvis Presley that were underneath, and Can. So you can see at that period, prog rock was really heavy there, with obviously Soundtrack and Can. It's a Billboard poster there. Jethro Tull Go In Better on Reprise, Where They Belong, Stand Up. So that's pretty cool. I like that. This is what I love about these releases. We've got different sort of covers there for Stand Up, and it looks like for Boré, which I think might have been a single. I don't know if it was released as a single. My pronunciations are probably wrong. And here's another version of it with Fat Mama on the reverse. Fat Man, sorry, not Fat Mama. What are you talking about, Joff? No idea. And then they go into in-depth, and then we get the lyrics of the songs, which is always nice if you want to follow along. A great shot of the band. Now this is the way the pictures should be done, like this. This photo was taken from Ian Anderson's archives. See, this would have been a fantastic photo, but it just, again, this little bit here just sort of spoils that a little bit. Even sitting down, Ian still seems to have his one-legged stance. Yeah. So enemies. This is a part that's an enemy on the road with Jethro Tull from the New Musical Express in 1969. And here's another one from New Musical Express in December 1969. So they got like press information in this section, with another sort of band photo spoilt with the middle bit. Then we go into the chronology. So this is going to be like all the tour dates and stuff like that they done on this stand-up tour, and they played with 10 years after in concert. And we have a few adverts among here as well at different places. Fillmore East, that's pretty cool. And this one here, the Boston Street Party, Jethro Tull, and from England, The Free, and Tom Rush and The Free. I'm sure Jethro Tull were from England too. And there we are with Led Zeppelin and Jethro Tull in concert at LA. I wonder if they actually played Nebworth at some point. They probably have done. They probably played with somebody like Led Zeppelin or something like that in Nebworth. Maybe not on this year, but definitely probably within the 70s they would have appeared there. And Monsters of Rock and all these sort of places they would have played at. So we're getting to more text of that. And we've got the Glenn Cognac selected discography. Songs from the Woodcutter. I think they did an album called Songs from the Wood, which is another sort of, I believe, sort of folky kind of bass things. This has quite a strong, heavy sort of folk influence on it, especially in the sort of core sort of melodies in the actual album. You can hear the sort of folk rock play through, but still has that sort of heavy sort of rock vibe going on in it too. So a rare photo there. So we're getting near the end of this booklet. Just one there of Ian, and there we go, Jethro Tull. That's a nice picture. That one is the 1978 German LP compilation. Now that's a really nice cover. That would be really cool to have had something like that on record. That's such a cool picture. I like that. And in this little envelope here we have the first disc, which is the DVD, which is Region Zero. Like I said, it's mostly audio, but it does have some video clips on it too, so that's pretty cool. And then we have the two discs at the back. We have the Stand Up, produced by Terry Ellis and John Anderson, a new Stephen Wilson stereo remix, associated recordings and BBC session. And on this disc here we have Live at Stockholm, corner set, 9th of January 1969, second show. So that's a whole concert on there. I believe it's an 8-track concert. And then we have original mono mixes of some tracks and some radio spots on that disc. So pop them back in there. So as you can see, it's really well packaged in this set, just like a book. So it could even sit on a bookshelf, couldn't it? A hardback book in a nice sort of like setup way. And that's such a nice touch that they've sort of replicated the pop-up there, which is very, very cool. Yeah, it's cool. So when I find myself listening to this album, I sometimes sit like that with the pop-up up, so I can visualize them at the same sort of time. But I do like all these sort of artwork here. We've got these different sort of ferns and leaves and plants all around it, which is really cool, which again emphasizes it being a sort of folk era, because the folk era in Britain was, British folk is related to our country, to the countryside, to all that sort of wonderful things, and religion and paganism and stuff like that. Not saying this is paganism or anything, I'm just saying, but that's why the sort of, you got the leaves and that, because it indicates a touch with nature there, which our folk music sort of does. So that is the complete look at the elevated edition of the Stephen Wilson mix of Jethro Tull's Stand Up. So there we are. There's a closer look at this release. I do have I think I've got another Jethro Tull box set in there, which we'll look at another day, along with some other Stephen Wilson mixes. I want to look at a closer look at a couple of Ultravox albums and some Marillion. So we'll get around to those. But yeah, this is a great set. It's a fantastic album. This, I still believe, this is still my favourite Jethro Tull album. He's had some classic albums over the years, and some of them have been very, very popular, to say the least. But this one is my favourite, just because of it's very melodic, and it does have a sort of folk and acoustic-y kind of feel to it, which I really sort of like, I connect with really well. And it's a great album, so I do recommend it. And as you can see, it's a fantastic release. I believe you can still get the album anyway if you just want the single album. I don't know if the Stephen Wilson mix is going to be available that way. I think it could only be available this way, and I'm sure they've also done like a vinyl release of the Stephen Wilson mix. But yeah, it's cool. It's such a great sort of box set, isn't it? So we'll have one more look at the band. That's so cool. Cheers, guys.